The emergency lights flickered inside the broken escape pod. Cracks spread across the control panel like spiderwebs. Sparks hissed now and then, lighting up the dark corners. A young man named Leo sat strapped in the pilot seat, eyes closed, breathing slow. Blood had dried near his temple. The air smelled of burnt metal and ozone. He woke up with a sharp gasp. Leo blinked hard, trying to remember. His ship, the Soul Runner, had been caught in a sudden debris storm near the edge of uncharted space. One moment, everything had been calm. The next, the alarms were screaming, the engines were failing, and he had just enough time to grab the emergency pod. Now he was alone, floating in the void, trapped in a pod not meant to last longer than 2 days. He reached for the communication screen, but the signal was dead. No beacons, no messages, no nearby systems. Just the silent stars. His water supply was low, food rations even lower, and the oxygen tank blinked yellow. Leo took a deep breath. So this is how it ends, he said to no one. Suddenly, a soft knock echoed from the back of the pod. He froze. His eyes darted to the rear panel. It was impossible. No one else had been on the pod. The knock came again, slower. He grabbed a fee, wrenched from the floor, crawling toward the sound. A hidden panel creaked open. Inside the small storage compartment, curled in the shadows, was a girl. She wasn't human. Her skin was pale blue, almost glowing. Her eyes were wide and silver, reflecting light like mirrors. She looked thin, fragile, but alert. Leo stared in disbelief. What the hell? The girl raised her hands, showing no weapon. Her voice was soft but firm. Don't be afraid. I didn't want to hide, but I had no choice. Leo didn't lower the wrench. You speak English? I listened while you slept, she said calmly. Learned your words. My name is Lyra. He lowered the tool slowly, still tense. How? Did you get in here? She looked down. I was on the wreck. My ship was hit too. I saw your pod. I climbed inside before you launched. He sat down hard, confused and tired. You stowed away? I had no other option, she whispered. Silence stretched between them. He studied her more carefully. She was clearly alien, but not monstrous. Her thin face showed pain and maybe fear, but her gaze didn't break. She was waiting for judgment. Maybe. Leo rubbed his face. This pod barely has enough air for one person. I know, Lyra said quietly. Then we're going to die faster. She nodded. Unless we work together. Work together to do what? Float to death hand in hand? For the first time, she smiled. A small, sad smile. You humans joke, even when doomed. But no, I don't plan to die. Not today. Her words struck something inside him. He didn't know what it was. Maybe her quiet bravery. Maybe her eyes that didn't flinch. Leo sighed. So what do you suggest? Lyra crawled out of the storage, sitting beside him on the floor. Your pod has power. Mine had a signal booster. If we combine the tech, maybe we can call for help. He hesitated, thinking. It was a long shot. But it was better than doing nothing. There's no one out here, he said softly. Not true, she replied. I was out here. So someone else could be too. He looked at her again. For the first time, he noticed the soft shimmer of her skin under the pod's red lights. She didn't look dangerous. She looked determined. Then she leaned closer, placing one hand gently over his. We're not wasting this chance, she whispered. Leo didn't move away. Outside the pod, the stars remained silent. But inside, 2 survivors began something neither of them expected. Hope. Leo sat cross-legged near the pod's power panel. A mess of wires and broken parts spread around him. Lyra sat opposite, holding a small round device in her hands. It pulsed with the soft blue glow her signal booster. "It needs direct power," she said, gently handing it to him. "Your pod system is weak, but if we can route energy from the emergency battery, it might fry everything else," Leo muttered, wiping sweat from his forehead. "But it's the only idea we've got." They worked in silence. The only sounds were the quiet clicks of tools and the hum of low power. The air was thinner now. Each breath felt just a bit harder. Leo tried not to think about it. He looked up. Lyra had removed the top panel of the booster, revealing a strange cluster of crystal circuits and thin coils. They shimmered like liquid. "Glass. You're not from anywhere I've seen," he said, trying to keep the tone light. Lyra didn't look up. "My kind doesn't visit your side of the stars often. Too much. Noise? Noise? War. Machines. Fire. You humans fight loud." Leo chuckled. "Yeah, we do that." Lyra paused. "But not all of you. Some build. Some help. Some try. To save others. Like you." "I was just trying to survive," Leo said. "And now you're helping me survive," she replied softly. He didn't have an answer. Suddenly, sparks shot out from the connector as Leo twisted a wire too fast. "Damn it," he hissed, pulling his hand back. A small burn smoked on his finger. Lyra quickly moved closer. "Let me see." "I'm fine. Show me." He reluctantly extended his hand. She held it gently, brushing her fingers over the skin. Her touch was cool and calming. A soft light came from her fingertips, and the burn faded within seconds. Leo blinked. "You can heal?" "Only small things," she said. "I'm not a weapon." "I never said you were." She looked into his eyes. "You thought it." He looked away. Silence settled again. Then, without speaking, they went back to work. This time, they passed tools without asking, shared glances instead of instructions. They began to move like they had done this before, though they hadn't. But somehow, they understood each other now. Time passed. Hours, maybe. Finally, Lyra gave a small nod. "Try it now." Leo flipped the switch. The pod's lights dimmed, but the signal booster lit up. A sharp pulse of energy ran through it, then stabilized. The screen flickered. A faint, weak signal formed. No words, just a ping. "But a real one. It's working," Leo said, almost in disbelief. Lyra let out a breath she'd been holding. "Now we wait. Someone might hear us. Or no one will." She looked at him, serious. "We still try." Leo leaned back against the wall, exhausted. "I didn't expect any of this. I didn't expect anyone." "Neither did I, Lyra," whispered Dot. They sat side by side. The light from the signal booster cast gentle shadows across the pod. For the first time in hours, Leo let himself rest, but his mind stayed awake, thinking about the girl beside him. An alien someone he didn't even know a day ago. Yet she'd healed his wound, risked her life to escape, and helped him build hope in a place where none existed. "Lyra?" he said, turning toward her. "Yes?" "Why did you say we're not wasting this chance?" She didn't speak at first. Then she said, "Because I've been alone before. Lost, afraid, and I wasted that time in silence." She looked at him now, but not this time. "I have someone beside me. Even if we die, I won't waste it." Leo stared at her. Maybe this wasn't just about survival anymore. Asterisk. The pod remained quiet, except for the soft humming of the signal booster. Leo sat beside Lyra, eyes half closed, listening to the slow beat of the device. One pulse every 5 seconds. A message sent into the black nothing dot. It had been 3 hours since they turned it on. No replies. No signals back. Leo tapped the side of the panel. Still nothing. "It's too early," Lyra said calmly. "Deep space echoes take time. Be patient." He leaned his head back and stared at the ceiling. We don't have time. Lyra said nothing. She just kept watching the signal strength with calm silver eyes. Her stillness comforted him in a strange way. Suddenly, a soft beep echoed through the pod. Leo sat up fast. Was that? The screen blinked. A signal. Weak, but there. A coded pulse returned. Not human. Not Lyra's language either. Lyra frowned. It's not from my people. Leo's heart raced. Could it be pirates? Or worse, she whispered. He stared at the blinking message. The code repeated, trying to make contact. Lyra moved closer to the screen, her long fingers tapping a few keys. It's ancient. Code used by scavenger drones, but it's been altered. Leo felt his stomach tighten. What does that mean? It means someone's out there, and they're listening. Before either of them could decide what to do, another pulse hit the pod, this time stronger. The screen flickered and crackled. A voice broke through. Unknown vessel. You are in restricted space. Identify yourselves. The voice was deep and metallic, cold and flat. Asterisk, Leo swallowed. That's not friendly. Lyra looked serious. It's an old II patrol, from a war that ended cycles ago. It shouldn't be. Active. They don't sound like they know that. Another crackle. Identify. Now, or be terminated. Leo stared at Lyra. We just fixed this thing. Now they want to blow us up? She placed her hand on his arm. We can trick it. What? If we upload a false ID, make it think we belong to its original fleet, it may ignore us. And if it doesn't? Asterisk, Lyra gave a small smile. Then we get to find out what happens when an AI war drone meets two broken survivors. Leo tried to laugh. It came out as a cough. They worked quickly. Lyra pulled up the old fleet registry from her side of the booster. Leo rewired the code converter. They used a dead pilot's ID chip from Leo's jacket. It was risky. If the AI caught the lie, it might fire before they could explain. Lyra leaned over the console, her face close to his. Are you ready? Leo nodded. Let's roll the dice. She pressed send. The pod fell silent again. No sound. No voice. Then, identity confirmed. Resuming patrol. Asterisk, the screen faded back to signal standby. Leo let out a long breath and laughed weakly. I can't believe that worked. Lyra leaned back against the wall. It shouldn't have. That drone was old. Its memory must be fading. Well, I'm glad it didn't fade back into shooting mode. They sat quietly, their shoulders touching. Leo looked at her. How did you stay so calm? She turned to him. Because I had you beside me. He looked away, slightly embarrassed. I'm not exactly a hero. I panicked when the lights blinked. But you didn't run, she said gently. You stayed. You helped. That matters. The stars outside remained endless, still watching. Suddenly, the signal beeped again, this time from a different source. Lyra leaned forward. Another one? The signal was simple. Human code. Emergency beacon response. Leo's eyes widened. Someone's coming. Lyra's voice was quiet, hopeful. Someone heard us. For the first time, Leo allowed himself to believe they might survive. Then she reached for his hand and held it, not as a partner in repair, not as an alien in need, but as someone who had chosen to stay because they didn't want to face the void alone anymore. Asterisk, Leo stared at the blinking light on the screen. It was steady now, pulsing in a rhythm only one kind of signal used human military rescue code. Help was coming. He turned to Lyra. We did it, but her smile was small. Wait. She leaned forward and adjusted the scanner. Her fingers danced across the controls. The pod screen lit up with a blurred shape approaching from the distance. It was large. Too large to be a rescue shuttle. That's not a normal rescue ship, Lyra said. It's something else. Leo felt the cold weight of fear settle back in his chest. You think it's a trap? It's broadcasting a human ID, she said. But the shape, it's wrong. The energy trail behind it doesn't match standard Terran design. The image sharpened. It looked like a ship, but twisted, blackened, patched together with scrap. A scavenger shell wrapped around stolen tech. It's a mimic, Leo muttered. Lyra nodded. Whoever it is, they stole that code. They want us to open our doors. Leo's hands curled into fists. We called for help. And now they're coming to finish us off. It comes cracked to life. A smooth voice, human but too polished, spoke. Survivors, prepare for docking. Safety and comfort await you. Lyra stood up. That voice isn't real. It's a recording. Leo felt heat rise in his chest, not anger, but determination. They don't know who they're dealing with. He moved fast. How long before they dock? 5 minutes, Lyra replied. Then we have 4 to make this pod deadly. Lyra gave a rare, sharp grin. Finally, you sound like a Deathworlder. Together, they started rewiring the signal booster. They rerouted emergency power to the core vent, set a trap in the docking panel, and turned off the outer lights to look disabled. If they try to pull us in, Leo said, we'll fry their systems. And if they come aboard, Lyra added, we make them wish they hadn't. They moved with speed and purpose. 2 survivors, 1 human, 1 alien becoming a single force. Then the docking clamps latched onto the pod. The sound was deep and heavy, like claws on metal. Leo and Lyra ducked behind the panel wall. Tools ready, eyes locked on the door. Silence. Then his SSSS. The airlock opened slowly. A tall figure stepped through wearing a mismatched suit, helmet cracked and armor scorched. It didn't look human or alien, just broken and dangerous. The thing scanned the pod with a cold lens. Valuable tech located. Life forms weak. Lyra didn't wait. She jammed the loose wire into the control box. A blast of white heat surged. From the wall, straight into the invader's chest. The figure screamed and collapsed. Another stepped in, but Leo was already moving. He swung the broken metal rod with all his strength. The second attacker dropped hard. The lights sparked. The power flickered. Then everything went dark. They waited. No more steps came. No more voices. Just the sound of their own breathing. Finally, Leo exhaled. I think that was all of them. Lyra nodded. Her hand trembled slightly. He reached out, steadying her wrist. You all right? Yes, just tired. He gently pulled her into a seat. You saved us. She shook her head. No, we saved each other. For a moment, there was peace in the ruined pod. They didn't speak. Didn't need to. The void outside was still endless. Cold, black, empty. But something had changed. Inside the pod, in the stillness after the fight, something warm grew quietly between them. Then the screen flickered again. A new signal clear. Clean and official. This is the TSS Valor. We picked up your distress beacon. If you can hear us, respond. Leo stared. They found us. Lyra's voice was barely above a whisper. Real help this time. Leo grabbed the mic. This is Leo from Escape Pod 17. 2 survivors aboard. We're ready. He looked at Lyra. You ready? She took his hand. More than ever. The TSS Valor arrived like a shining star. Its lights cut through the void, casting silver reflections across the pod's surface. Massive and smooth, the human ship drifted close, its engines quiet but powerful. It was not a mimic, not a trap. This time, rescue was real. Inside the escape pod, Leo and Lyra stood side by side, waiting near the airlock. Their bodies were still, tense from the last fight, but their eyes, especially Leo's, held something different now. Something softer. A new voice crackled through the speakers. Pod 17, prepare for manual boarding. Stay calm. Leo chuckled under his breath. Easier said than done. Lyra smiled faintly. This ship is big. Will they trust me? They'll listen to me, he said firmly. They'll have to. The hatch hissed open. A team of humans in clean rescue suits entered with practiced calm. Their leader, a tall man with gray at his temples, stepped forward and scanned them both. Leo raised his hand. I'm Leo, civilian pilot. This is Lyra. She's not from Earth, but she's a friend. The man's eyes narrowed slightly at Lyra, but nodded. I'm Commander Holt. You're safe now. Medical staff guided them through a pressurized tunnel and into the warmth of the ship. For Leo, it was like walking into sunlight after a long night. Clean air. Normal gravity. Lights that didn't flicker. For Lyra, it was stranger. She moved slowly, eyes wide as she passed the crew. Most of them stared at her, unsure if they should smile or step back. Her glowing skin and quiet steps made her look ghost-like, but her calm presence kept the fear away. They were placed in a private medical room, side by side on observation beds. Machines scanned their vitals, but Lyra's readings confused the system. A medic raised an eyebrow. We've never seen a body like this before. She's not a threat, Leo said. No, the medic replied. She's surviving injuries. That would have killed a dozen humans. Hours passed. Tests ended. They were given warm food, fresh clothes, and rest. But Leo couldn't rest. Not yet. He sat beside Lyra in the quiet corner of the medbay. She had her arms wrapped around her knees, staring out the small window at the stars. You okay? He asked gently. Lyra nodded. It feels strange, being safe. Leo sat beside her. I know what you mean. She turned to him. What happens? Now? Asterisk, he looked down. The commander asked me questions. About you, where you're from, why you were in the pod. What did you say? I told him the truth, that you saved my life, that we wouldn't be here if not for you. Lyra's lips parted slightly. And did they believe you? They didn't argue. A silence fell between them, not heavy, but quiet like space itself. Then Leo whispered, I don't want to leave you behind. Lyra looked up, startled. I mean it, he said. They'll want to send you off somewhere. Maybe question. Study you. But I won't let them. I want you to stay with me. She didn't speak for a moment. Then slowly, she reached out and touched his hand. I thought you were strange, she said. Loud, always joking, always fixing things the hard way. Leo smiled. Sounds about right, but you never gave up on me. Even when you didn't know me. Even when it meant risking everything. Her voice became quiet. No one's ever done that before. He leaned in slightly. Lyra, I don't care where you came from. You matter to me. Her silver eyes shimmered as she leaned in, her forehead resting gently against his. Then we don't waste this chance, she whispered again. No, he said, we don't. They sat there, forehead to forehead, two souls from different worlds brought together by silence, survival, and something stronger than either expected. Love. In orbit, asterisk, the TSS Valor moved through space toward Earth like a silent guardian. Its engines whispered. Its crew worked in quiet focus. But inside, tension grew. Leo and Lyra were no longer just survivors. They were news. The story spread fast. A human man and an unknown alien woman rescued from deep space. Both alive, both bonded. And no one knew what to do with them. Leo stood in front of a window near the observation deck. Earth was now visible, a glowing blue and green marble surrounded by clouds. It looked peaceful from here, but he knew things were about to get messy. Lyra stood beside him, her expression unreadable. She had changed into clean clothes given by the crew. The shirt was too big, and the pants were loose, but she wore them with quiet pride. "They're scared of me," she said, her voice low. "They're scared of what they don't understand," Leo replied. "They always are." Commander Holt had been kind but distant after the rescue. The medical crew treated Lyra with caution, always watching, never getting too close. And now, a full Earth military delegation was waiting for them below. "They want to take you in for study?" Leo said. Lyra didn't look surprised. "I knew they would. It's what my people do too. I told them no. Told them you're not a threat, that you're coming with me." She turned to him slowly. "And if they say no, then I say no louder." Her eyes softened. "You're risking everything." He smiled faintly. "You're worth it." Later that day, they were brought to the docking bay. Commander Holt met them there, dressed in formal uniform. Beside him stood 3 men and 1 woman in black coats, Earth officials, eyes sharp and cold. "Leo," one of them said, "you are to be debriefed immediately. Your companion will be transported to an off-world facility for further." "No," Leo interrupted, standing in front of Lyra. "She's with me." "This is not your decision," the woman in black replied. "She is not Terran. She is unknown and potentially dangerous." "She's not dangerous," Leo snapped. "She saved my life. She repaired the comms. She fought off raiders." Lyra stepped forward. "You don't have to protect me." He glanced at her. "Yes, I do." The oldest man in the group spoke then. "Fine. Then both of you will be transported to the Joint Space Council, together. But you will not speak to the press. You will not move freely, and you will answer every question." Leo nodded. "As long as we're not separated." The officials exchanged quiet glances, then nodded once. The shuttle down to Earth was smooth but tense. Lyra looked out the window as they entered the atmosphere. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Leo nodded. "It is, but it's not always kind." They were taken to a secure facility, near Earth's orbital capital. Not a prison, but not a home either. A white room with glass walls, comfortable chairs, and soft lighting. But everything had cameras. "Observation," Lyra said softly. "I expected this." "They'll learn," Leo replied. "Eventually." Each day they were questioned. About the pod, about the raiders, about Lyra's origin, her people, her ship, her abilities. Lyra answered what she could. She didn't hide, but she didn't tell everything. "They wouldn't understand," she told Leo one night. "Not yet." Weeks passed. Then, one morning, a young woman entered the room, not military, not official. She wore a soft smile and held a small tablet. "I'm not here to interrogate," she said. "I'm a cultural envoy, and I want to hear your story." Lyra looked surprised. "Ours?" The woman nodded. "How you survived. How you trusted each other. How it became more." Leo and Lyra exchanged glances, and then they began to really speak, not about technology or threats or protocols, but about fear, about hope, about how 2 people from different stars found something real in the dark. Asterisk, the story spread across Earth, faster than anyone expected. It began with a single interview. The young envoy released a short clip of Leo and Lyra sitting side by side, speaking in calm voices, not about war, not about alien weapons, just about how 2 strangers, 1 human, 1 alien survived together in the coldest part of space. People listened. They heard about the broken pod, the stolen signal, the trap, the fear, but most of all, they heard about trust. About how Leo gave Lyra a chance when he didn't have to, and how Lyra whispered, "We're not wasting this chance," when she could have run or hidden. That line became a symbol. Across cities and stations, people started saying it, wearing it on shirts, posting it in messages. We're not wasting this chance. It didn't fix everything. Some officials still doubted Lyra. Some feared what her arrival meant. A few groups loudly protested, calling her a danger, but louder. Then them were the voices that believed. Asterisk children watched her story in school. Scientists asked her questions about her people, not to capture, but to understand. Artists painted scenes of a glowing girl and a broken pod surrounded by stars. And through it all, Leo stayed close. He gave speeches when asked. Always simple. Always honest. "I didn't fall in love with an alien," he said once on live broadcast. "I fell in love with someone brave, kind, and stronger than I'll ever be." When asked if he was sure, he replied, "I'm not wasting this chance. Neither should you." Lyra had trouble with attention. She didn't like crowds, but she stood beside Leo each time. She spoke softly, wisely, and when she smiled, even the most doubtful viewers paused to look again. Weeks turned to months. They were given a new place to live near the coast, overlooking the ocean, not in hiding, not under guards. Just peace. One evening, Leo and Lyra stood on the balcony. The sky was orange and pink, waves crashing below. She wore a long blue wrap, hair lifted by the wind. He stood beside her, hand in hers. "Did you ever think this would happen?" he asked. Lyra tilted her head. "No, I thought I would die in that pod, cold, alone, forgotten." Leo looked out at the waves. "Same." She stepped closer. "But you reached out, even when you didn't know me." "You whispered first," he said with a smile. "You said we're not wasting this chance." "I meant it," she replied. "I still do." He turned to her. "Do you ever miss your home?" Lyra looked up at the stars. "Sometimes, but I think home is where you are now." Leo's heart skipped at those words. Simple, true, powerful. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small ring handmade, rough but beautiful. It had a soft blue glow at its center, powered by one of the crystals from her broken device. He didn't say a big speech. He didn't kneel. He just held it out and said, "We've both survived so much. I want to keep surviving with you." Lyra's eyes shimmered. She didn't look surprised. She just stepped forward and took the ring gently. Then she kissed him. Not out of fear, not for comfort, but for love. Real love. Shared and built between stars, in silence, in fire, in hope. The world watched that moment. Some cheered. Some cried. Others simply understood that maybe, just maybe, this was what peace between species looked like. Not treaties, not weapons, but two souls choosing each other. When they had every reason not to. Final note, they were no longer just survivors. They were a beginning, and the stars, once cold and distant, now carried a new message. We're not wasting this chance.